Yo, what is up guys? Delboy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that like, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. Quick preview and prediction for Harlem Eubank versus Jack Catterall. Fight goes down this weekend, takes place in the Manchester Arena, so more or less hometown advantage for Jack Catterall. Not quite, but it's close to his hometown. And this fight will take place at welterweight. Jack Catterall, of course, coming off a loss to Arnold Barboza. In my opinion, a fight in which he was thoroughly outboxed. Trying to re-announce himself at welterweight now. That last fight was at 140 after spending his whole career at 140. I'm not really convinced Catterall has the physicality and size to compete at 147, but this marks his first fight. Harlem Eubank, on the other hand, he's amassed a record of 21-0, but, hasn't really fought anybody in his pro career to date. He's fought faded guys like Tyrone McKenna, who, let's be real, was never all that great to begin with. Guys like Timo Schwarzkopf, German fighter, again, sort of a durable gatekeeper, I guess. Guys like Tom Farrell, a washed-up Sean Dodd. Harlem Eubank's not really for anybody who was in a good place in their career of any real level. So he is largely unproven going into this fight. Bookies' odds make Jack Catterall a favourite, and I think that's rightly so because of the experience of both fighters. Catterall has fought at a much higher level in comparison to Harlem Eubank. Harlem Eubank's never really had a big fight. He's never been under the bright lights. Catterall has, to mixed results, yeah, but he has been there. And overall, yeah, Catterall is just a lot more experienced. He's proven himself at a higher level in comparison to Harlem Eubank. We really have no idea whereabouts Harlem Eubank is at, what level he is. I'd say he's domestic level, but is he any better than that? Who knows? We shall see. For me in this one, I've seen a bit of Harlem Eubank. I watched him early in his career, and early on, I have to admit, I was never impressed with Harlem Eubank. I remember a fight he had in Monaco against a journeyman, and he arguably lost that fight. 4-rounder, fair enough, but, lost his shape very quickly. I felt he was kind of out-hustled, and he was lucky to get the win that night. And since then, I didn't really rate him, and I'm still really not sure on him, but he has looked better in some of his previous fights, like the Timo Schwarzkopf fight, like the Tyrone McKenna fight, like the Ishmael Ellis fight. He has come on, he has got better, but he's still a very raw fighter, I think. He's a fighter in which I would say gets by a lot on athleticism and speed. He's got quick feet, quick hands, likes to get in and out with his jab. Actually has a pretty good jab, a good double jab as well. Likes to fire that right hand behind it. You see technical flaws in Harlem Eubank's game, but he tries to be an in-and-out boxer, I would say. In-and-out boxer, sometimes merging it with like a boxer-puncher type of style. However, he doesn't really have a crazy amount of power, so yeah. But he can put his shots together, he can throw with speed, but I guess I would describe this guy as a boxer type more than anything, but not negative. And he gets by a lot on his speed and athleticism. Now, I think Harlem Eubank has the athleticism, has the physical ability to give Jack Catterall a lot of issues. They're both a similar size. Catterall is 5'7", Harlem Eubank's 5'8". Catterall has a 69-inch reach, whereas Harlem Eubank has a 67-inch reach. So they're pretty much there or thereabouts the same size. Catterall does have a slight reach advantage, but I don't think it's necessarily a downside for Harlem, considering Catterall is nowhere near active enough with that lead hand in terms of throwing jabs. What Harlem does have here is, in my opinion, the foot speed and hand speed advantage and the athleticism advantage, and I think he can use that in his own way to make Catterall take the lead, to make Catterall take the initiative, to make him lead with punches. We saw, and I said this prior to the Arnold Barboza fight, if you can make Catterall take the lead, take the initiative, he becomes very one-dimensional. Catterall, in my opinion, is only effective when you're coming onto him, when you're standing in front of him. But if you offer him movement, he's got no idea. He can't set up attacks. He can't cut the ring off. He can't really throw in combination effectively on the front foot. He can't punch on the front foot. He's very ineffective when he's made to take the lead. And while Harlem Eubank isn't the most technically refined boxer, he still tries to box, and he's got good foot speed, good hand speed. I think he needs to utilise that to the best of his ability to, again, make Catterall take the lead. Watch that Barboza fight. It's out there to watch. Catterall's weaknesses are very apparent. He's got slow feet, he's not a great offensive fighter, and like I said, he really can't fight coming forwards. So for me, Catterall has to make this, dare I say negative, dare I say boring. Maybe not negative, but like he just has to box on the move here. He has to take the play away from Catterall, in my opinion. And I think he's got the hand speed and foot speed to do that in moments. It's whether he can do that without making silly mistakes, without getting drawn in. One thing about Harlem Eubank is he's very raw when he throws power punches. He's okay with the jab, but when he throws power punches, particularly that right hand, he's got a horrible habit of leaning in. And, you know, Catterall is a good counter puncher with his left hand. He's a southpaw, of course. And if he measures you up with that straight left, he can land it effectively. He can also change the angle of that left hand. He can throw it curved, etc. He can throw it short. He can throw it long. And yet, Harlem Eubank's got a horrible habit of leaning in with his right hand. He really does fall in. Even if Catterall doesn't counter him initially, he can then follow up with an uppercut if he misses that first shot. When Harlem Eubank gets adventurous, that's when he starts to get ragged. That's when he starts to lose construct. But when he's primarily boxing with his jab and not really doing much else, he's actually an okay boxer from that in that degree. He's okay at this level. But it's whether Harlem Eubank, like I said, can be disciplined for 12 rounds. That's the question. Hasn't fought at this level, like I said. So what happens when he gets hit? What happens when the crowd reacts to Catterall having a bit of success? Will Eubank then get involved and give Catterall more opportunities to land those counters, whether to body or head? I think going into this fight, most people are picking Jack Catterall, and I see why. And I am leaning towards Catterall, don't get me wrong. But I don't think this fight, I don't think it's outside the realms of possibility for an upset to happen here. Because I was saying prior to the Barboza fight, Barboza's style is all wrong for Catterall. The difference was, Barboza's a much better technical boxer than Harlem Eubank. Much better. He's more fundamentally sound. Harlem Eubank is an athlete who tries to box, kind of like Eubank Jr. At one stage. But he does have athletic ability, he does have speed, he does have foot speed, hand speed, etc. Decent reactions. And he needs to utilise that in a way that exposes Catterall's weakness. I can see Eubank winning rounds. I wouldn't be surprised if Eubank wins this fight. And you guys know I'm not a massive fan of Catterall. Well, I'm not a fan of Catterall. I think he's been overrated in recent times. And I believe he's one-dimensional as well, like I said. But in this one, I've got a feeling that Catterall's experience might be a bit too much. I feel that's how it's going to go. I think it's going to be close and competitive. Wouldn't even be surprised if there's some debate in regards to the scorecards about who really won. I don't think this is a foregone conclusion for Jack Catterall. I think he's a big favourite, but I think stylistically, Eubank does a lot that theoretically should pose Catterall issues. You know, we still don't know a lot about Eubank in regards to certain aspects. His chin. I know Catterall's not a massive puncher, but he hits hard enough, and he's got good timing. We don't really know about Eubank's gas tank over a hard fight. Having said that, you know, Catterall doesn't make you have a hard fight. He's way too patient, way too cautious. So I don't think the gas tank's going to be an issue for Harlem Eubank. I think what his issue could be is inexperience more than anything, and him losing his shape when he tries to open up. Because he really does lose his shape at times. And that's where Catterall could capitalise, you know? I think I'm going to go with a Catterall close decision, but I really wouldn't be shocked if Harlem Eubank won. I think I picked against Catterall in the Barboza fight. Correct me if I'm wrong, I forgot. And I see this one similar, but obviously I don't think... I see this one similar in the sense of Eubank can pose Catterall similar problems. I just don't think he's got the technical ability of Barboza, nor does he have the experience, you know? So I'm going to go with Catterall on points, competitive, could be controversial, and I don't think it's going to be a great fight. I want to put that in there as well. But yeah, share your thoughts below. Beanie Guy Del Boy, peace.